Keith, good to be back with you. Welcome to Florida.
Mm-hmm. And in
sunshine.
Yeah, in person.
And in person.
It's wonderful.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We are going to talk silver prices first, hitting a 7-month high amidst this geopolitical backdrop, of course. The question is, where do silver prices go from here? What could we expect for 2022?
The last thing you want is some kind of political event occur to drive metal prices.
Of course.
And that's what's happening right now. We saw gold spike, had a trading range of $100, I think, on Thursday, and closed, down that day. And then we had some recovery on Friday, and silver, we, thank goodness, had some recovery as well. But, we had at least $1.50 swing on silver. I think it could have been actually close to $2 on Thursday. And then these are, we don't want to see those kinds of things. I think the supply-demand fundamentals of silver in itself is enough to move prices. And that's my thesis and has been for many years.
It kind of echoes what you said to me during the silver squeeze. You didn't like that phenomena for the exact, for different reasons, but you don't like to see those type of movements.
Right. I don't think they're healthy. People obviously bought silver at those prices, and then next thing you know, by the end of the day, they own it and they're offside. And they likely, in a lot of cases, the retail investor will decide to sell and lose money for the wrong reason. So I just want stability, and I think silver prices should get north of $25 on its own without the political events that are going on, and even I think I know there's some people out there predicting new highs for gold in 2022. I wouldn't doubt it, but I think the $2,200 gold and $30 silver is very much in the cards.
Well, I have been hearing more bullish calls for gold, anywhere from $2,200, $2,500, $3,000. Now, you've been famous for coining the term triple-digit silver. In fact, your company even got beautiful T-shirts made with hashtag triple-digit silver.
And you got one, I think.
And I have one. Yeah. When would that happen for you now?
Hopefully in my lifetime. I think it will, though. I think it's you saw my presentation today, and the fundamentals for the metal are just astounding. So it should be there today.
And you really, you are so passionate about silver. Obviously, this is clear. And I want to bring up a point. You brought up Jerritt Canyon. You took some heat with the acquisition of Jerritt Canyon because people thought, now all of a sudden you're going to gold. But Keith, you love silver. But I like how you explained it. I really like a hedge here, because you were saying, look, working in silver can almost drive you mad, because you're working with a projection, let's say, of $20 silver. I'll let you explain your philosophy there, because I thought it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I left a copper company, and that was in 2000. A company I formed in 1992. And after the dot-com bubble burst in 2000, gold bottomed out, and I knew I could see what was happening, and it was time to put another company together. And I was gravitated towards gold. There's lots of gold companies, and being. But when I started doing my analysis, coming from copper, and I looked at silver, I was just absolutely blown away by the fundamentals of the metal. And I said, I gotta do silver, and I was right. I figured silver would hit $50, and it did. I did not predict it was going to do what it did, drop all the way back down to 13. But and we're budgeting, during this period. So can you imagine back in 2011? I forget what our budget was at the time, but it's it was call it $40 an ounce back in 2011. The next thing you wake up and silver is $30 an ounce or 35. You start firing people, stopping investments, curtailing investments, delaying investments, and it's terrible because it creates this can't even think of the word, but nevertheless, it's not stable. And so gold gives us that stability. And that's what I was saying today in my presentation, because, I said today that we could stop selling our silver. Not that we would, but because that's our profit. But we could run the business just on gold.
And I'm happy you brought up that point about selling silver, because you're, I believe, the only silver miner that sells the silver. You have a bullion page that sells the silver.
Yeah.
Any insights about what you're seeing in terms of sales these days? Have you seen, there you go, an influx? Because I was speaking to some friends that are precious metals dealers, and they were saying their phones were ringing off the hook with what was happening in Canada, people trying to, get out of the banking system and move more into gold and silver, have you seen a spike in sales? Or
I would love to sell 100% of our silver through our website, but unfortunately, the mints can't handle it. And that's where the problem is, because we've had 2 major bankruptcies in the sector over the last 5 years. 2 of the largest refinery. Well, one was the largest mint in the United States went under,
right?
And then the largest refinery went under shortly thereafter, a couple of years ago. And it's not a big industry. So for us as a miner, we send our metal to Sunshine Mint, for example,
right?
And it takes us anywhere from 8 to 10 months, 6 to 10 months, to get that metal back in the form of retail products. So we end up having to run these huge inventories of metal in process just to enable to supply our store with the retail products that are in demand from our investors or people that want to buy the metal. If we owned our own mint, for example, and we could take away that bottleneck, we could probably sell.
Is that a possibility?
We are thinking about it, and we have looked around, and we might build our own. I don't know.
Wow.
But, yeah.
And that would be an industry first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On that note, I don't know how many times I've interviewed you, and I don't think I've ever asked you this. Would you ever consider starting another company?
Well, I did start a company in 2015, a company called First Mining Gold, right? And then, back then, when I put together, First Quantum and First Majestic, and the 2 similarities between those 2 companies was they were at the depths of the market. I could pick up assets, and there was no competition. And it was shocking when I put together First Majestic's portfolio from 2004 through 2007. I had no competition. I just went down with a checkbook and bought whatever my technical team was suggesting that we buy. And now, not everything was successful, but it obviously worked out quite well. And in the case of First Mining Gold, it was 2014, 2015. We were buying gold assets for less than $10 an ounce in the ground. And these are companies that had market caps of $100, $200 million. And we were buying them for like $20, $30 million, just picking them up for peanuts. And, over a period of 15 months, I bought 8 companies and merged them into what became First Mining Gold. And I'm the chairman of that company. I'm not really involved on a day-to-day basis. It's run by a pretty good team of people, but it's all in the permitting stage, which is the most annoying stage there is in developing a mine, because there's a lot of uncertainty around permits, and you just have to wait it out, and it tends to be quite boring. But I can't. First Majestic's my full-time job, and I can't imagine starting another company. Quite frankly, it's way too much work. I love First Majestic. I love what I'm doing. I've got silver. I've got gold. And that's good.
And you feel good. So
That's
we're not going to see you starting a uranium company anytime soon.
No.
All right. Well,
I guarantee that won't happen.
All right. Well, I always appreciate you stopping by. Keith, final thoughts for investors watching amidst this landscape. And, a lot of people cheering for the precious metals right now.
Well, we had a big budget in 2021. Our budget was something over $200 million in investments through exploration, development, and mill improvements and so on, which gave us a record 2021. We're expecting a 30% increase of production in 2022 as a result of that money that we spent last year and the money that we're continually spending currently. And by 2024, we're expecting to get up to 50 million silver equivalent ounces. And but to get there, we got to keep this aggressive spending up. And we'll as a result of that high spending, our costs will be a little bit elevated, for the next year or two. But that's all going to come off by end of 2023, 2024. It's going to look really good by 2024, 2025.
Well, continued success, Keith. Always a pleasure.
Well, these bull markets, they last for a long time, and it's not a couple year phenomenon. These things usually go 5 to 10 years.
All right, Keith Neumeyer, thank you so much.
Great. Well, great seeing you again.